everybody, welcome to my channel and welcome to the tutorial for my project for craftycity.com. And this tutorial is part of a YouTube pop for a celebration for Crafty City's 10-year anniversary. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go to the very first video and I explain everything there. I'll have a link to that below. And I explain how to get your kit so you can follow along with this tutorial or get your coupon code. If you're watching this before Mother's Day 2022, you still can get the coupon code for the kits. And there I had also asked everyone to comment what type of project they would make with the kit that I've been given, and there was quite a majority response to make a journal. For a walkthrough of this project, there will be another link so you can see the finished project as well. So I would like to invite you to subscribe to my channel and give me that thumbs up. And just a reminder to watch my tutorials all the way through before you actually work on your project. I do make changes here and there, and I do some troubleshooting as we go. So I do recommend that. And with that being said, let's get started. So the first thing that I do is get my journaling pages prepared, and I just use the cheap stuff at Walmart, the 8.5 by 11 coffee printer paper. Half of this has been coffee dyed and soaked in coffee. The other half has just been just laid on top of my drying mat and soaked up the leftover coffee. You can use a couple music pages. If you can't find music pages or can't find any freebies online to print out, then use a book page. I've got some graph paper here. If you can't find graph paper or you don't have any graph paper, you can use lined notebook paper. And last, I'm using this design paper. The first one looks like pressed flowers. This one looks like some handwriting, and the last one is a map. And so you can use what you have. It doesn't have to be anything similar to this. And just make the journal unique to you and use what you have. But you're going to want about, I want to say 18 to 20 folded papers, half of them being just, with nothing on them, just coffee dyed paper. If you have more or less, and it doesn't matter. I mean, it's going to work either way. It's your journal. Then here I have some strips that are cut out from the cover of the paper pack, and these are just the little sneak peeks of what's inside of the collection. And so I just cut these strips out from the cover, and I'm going to use them as tags. And if you remember, on the back were all these different word strips. But even by cutting these out, you're still going to have plenty of word strips left. So you can see that I had all these word strips left. Then the back cover had all the fussy cut elements on it. So I fussy cut everything out here. And believe me, I'm not the best fussy cutter, so don't be intimidated by that. And then for our cover, I am just using this cardboard that I cut off of the cardboard box I got in the mail the other day. So if you don't have a cardboard box, use some cereal boxes and double them up. If they want them thicker, triple them up. It doesn't matter. One thing I would suggest is you watch the tutorial all the way through in case I do change sizes or something like that, because sometimes as I'm going along, things aren't working out like I intend them to, and I make changes. So just keep that in mind. But the sizes on this are, everything is 8 3/4 tall. The covers are 5 3/8 wide, and the spine is 1 inch wide. So that is it for your preparation, and so I'll be right back with getting started. So I decided the first step would be to cover my cardboard pieces with any kind of craft paper. And so To do this, you're going to want a piece of paper that is 2 inches wider than your cardboard piece and 2 inches longer, so that when it sits on the paper, you've got 1 inch all the way around, and gluing that on the paper. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this part here. And then what I do is uh, I cut at an angle about 1/8 of an inch away, and just like that. So you can also use this tool to mark where you should trim your corners. And I got this one as a gift, but I know that you can find them at some scrapbook stores have them, and you might be able to find one online. But if you can't have one available, you can also just take your ruler and measure 1/8 of an inch from the corner there, like I'm doing here, and then go ahead and draw your line. Or I just eyeballed that again where the little mark was, but you can also draw a line. Anyway, lots of ways to do it. I just wanted to show you the little tool in case you would rather use that instead of just eyeballing it. I like to use some double-sided tape on the edges of the paper just so that it will quickly adhere to the board rather than holding it in place while the glue is drying. So you're going to see me add the tape backing here, and then once that's on, I will go ahead and finish off with glue, because over time the tape uh, loses its stickiness, especially in humid conditions, and so it's best to add a little bit of glue on top of the tape as well. So what I like to do is, and I hope you can see this on camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the edge of the cardboard against my table, and I'm going to fold it over. And I have a really good pliable paper that folds really well. I like to do opposite sides. I like to do the long sides first. Okay, so now I got to get up closer. So now you're going to see that we have these little, I don't know, little wings here, I guess, sticking out. And if you're folding this over, that would just kind of stick out like a little wing or something. So we don't want that. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking the edge of my bone folder, and you know what, if you don't have a bold folder, just use, if you have a fingernail, use your fingernail. Use anything that's a screwdriver, the back end of a knife or something, anything to just fold that corner down. You could even just add just a smidge of glue there, just folding those corners down. So now I'm going to do the other sides, and I'm just going to add just a smidge of glue. And then with this cardboard too, you got to be careful not to smush your corners.
You and me, we meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
And I inked, so far I've been inking everything in this Color Philosophy chocolate. I had this in my stash. But this was, I got this a few years ago, and I don't even know if it's available anymore. Okay, so those are our covers, and then I'll show you what I'm planning on doing with that in just a minute. Now for the spine, in the beginning I said I might change my mind. I ended up changing this new piece of cardboard that is 1 1/8 inches wide instead of 1 inch. And for this, all I need to do is place a piece of paper on one side, and but I'm just basically wanting to cover the top and bottom of that chipboard to just keep it um, nice and uh, covered like the rest of my cardboard pieces. And here we're doing the shake again.
It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be.
So I've decided to make 2 signatures, and I've used design paper for the signature covers, and I just wanted to show you how I've cut these. So this one here, I've cut the bottom off first. So these are 8.5 by 10. And then I cut the sides like you see here. And then this one, I cut off the top first and then cut the sides. You just want to make sure you're not cutting into some of these elements here. So you don't want the words cut in half. And then this one has design paper in the center of the signature. And on this one, I did cut off some off the top and some off the bottom. And then I cut down the sides here so that this would be more towards this side. And oh, and I was going to show you the order of the papers in case you're following along. So I've got on this signature, this is actually going to be the first one. So let me start with this. So I've got this lighter coffee stained, the music paper, coffee letter, and then this is some tissue paper that I got from my local oyster bar. They serve this underneath the fish and chips, and I just asked the waitress for extras. So, but any unique tissue paper would be good if you have something maybe in your wrapping paper section or something that would be pretty. And then some more copy paper, some graph paper, coffee, and this is that pressed flower paper, or it looks like pressed flower paper. So that's the first one, and then this one has coffee, the map, the graph, some coffee, music paper, coffee, and then that design paper in the center of that signature. And for the cover, I'm going to use this paper here. And somehow it's gonna have to be trimmed down a little bit, but I'm gonna fit that in as best I can. And for the front inside cover, I'm going to be using this with this flower. And the back inside cover, I'm going to be using this here. And then for the back of the journal, I'm not sure yet. I'll just see where I'm at once I've got that done. And then I do think that I'm going to go ahead and stitch with my sewing machine around the cover pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and get that finished, and I'll be right back. So I'm throwing another wrench into the project. I do apologize, but as I was rummaging through my trims and stuff, I found some of this fabric, and I had enough to use this for a journal cover, and so that's what I've decided to do. It goes really, really pretty with the paper that I've chosen to be the front cover. And so, you know, I have it, and I just really want to take advantage of it. So now for my fabric cover, I'm not going to redo this. I'm going to keep using this There's no reason to have to redo everything. In fact, having the paper on that cardboard makes it nice. I'll have this nice lighter finish just in case it shows through. You know, this is a thinner fabric, so you don't want to use a fabric that's too thick, I don't think. Though I've never done that. I guess it could be done. So anyway, I'm just gonna, same thing, I'm gonna glue everything down like this. Make sure you're gluing this onto the wrong or opposite or the bad side of the fabric, however you want to call it, the wrong side, bad side, the inside of the fabric, whatever, and so that you have your pretty pattern showing on the outside. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue that, and I'm going to, you know, jump away or fast forward or whatever.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
So now for the edges, what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to go ahead and fold up these edges here. And I did get the ends here a little bit smaller than the sides, but that's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and brush this on here and try and fold everything over. Now, if you want to use a little bit of, this is going to be covered up, this inside cover is going to be covered up with paper. So if you want to add a little bit of tape there or something just to help keep that secure. In fact, I might need to. We'll just see how it goes. Actually, it's looking like I don't really need it.
From a distance you can tell.
Okay, so now that I've got these sides done, now I don't want all this bulk of fabric on the ends. So I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to cut it on the edge like that. I don't want it all the way over. And then cut it like that so that it looks kind of like this. We're going to try this. I hope this works. Because I may or may not have any more of this fabric. I did get it at Hobby Lobby. I don't know if it's still available there. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it like kind of like when I'm wrapping a present. I'm going to fold that corner over like this. I'm going to put the collage medium in there. I may have to trim this a little bit more on that corner. So let's try this, see how it works. I'm going to put my distress medium there. And I'm going to, if I didn't get the paper or the fabric quite to the edge, I'm going to push it down there with my finger. And then I'm going to fold this over kind of like as if I'm wrapping a present. Like so. So I'll go do the other side here. And of course I'm doing this keeping in mind that this is going to be covered up with paper. So, and then I'm just going to go ahead and I think on this one I'm just going to brush the medium on the fabric. Get inside that gap there so it'll stay down together. And now go ahead and got to brush it on to your edges as well a little bit. You might not want to go all the way to the edge on that fabric because you may want a little bit of offset with the paper. I don't know. So now I'm just gonna fold that over. I got a little bit of a snag there with that fabric, so now I'm gonna have to, I don't want any bulk there because of the paper, so I'm gonna cut that off. Goodness sakes, the fabric's wanting to fray now. Okay, and I'm gonna do that on the other side. So I'm cutting straight across my cover here, but not going all the way to the edge. I'm leaving about 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm cutting this part straight from there. Sorry if I'm out of frame. It's hard for me to see that far. Okay, so there. Okay, and same thing, and I'll speed this part up. Okay, so now I am going to go ahead and let this completely dry for maybe. Okay, so I have my design paper onto my cover, and what I did is I just glued it onto the fabric, and then I sewed all the way through everything, the cardboard and everything. And then on the back, I just sewed around the edges of the fabric cover here. I didn't sew anything on the spine, just on the covers. So I think I'm going to end this first part of the tutorial here, and the next part 2, we're going to be starting off with some cord and some buttons. So you might want to pull out your buttons and such, and in preparation for that. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and as always, I would appreciate the thumbs up and subscribe, and make sure you're notified so that you can be looking out for part 2 of this tutorial. So I'll see you then. Bye.